for that. But Steve, I really appreciate it. I know this has been a few months in the making since we first met in Birmingham at the big expo. But thanks for joining me. Thanks for coming on and taking the time. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. It's a real pleasure, to be on finally. And busy at the moment, as is the case with so many of us, I guess, after getting back to the normality.
I see that
back on the road.
The world has woken up, hasn't it? The world is back up and running, so to speak, and everyone's busy.
It certainly has. Yeah, I think we seem to be going at 200 miles an hour. Everybody wants to travel. Everybody wants to go out, and that's what happens, isn't it? When you sort of deprive a nation of socializing and getting out and doing stuff, then I think there's certainly a flip to that we're all getting out and about now.
How did you cope through COVID in the way, obviously, you had to shut things down, the way the world sort of closed in on us? How did you guys react at Kendal?
It was really tough for us at Kendal. I think we obviously knew that we couldn't run the festival, but we made the big decision to run a broadcast only festival, which involved a lot of investment, but also for us to go online for the first time. And luckily we got a really top level producer from the BBC in to sort of manage us behind the scenes. But there was that sort of rabbit in the headlights moment when the cameras went live and somebody's in your ear going, "You're live in 3, 2, 1," and that's it. And I've got a silent venue. Put me in front of 1,000 people, I'm fine. But this sort of media, if you like, is very different for a lot of us. So we learnt on the job.
Yeah, I'd never recorded a podcast online until we got sent home, and it completely changed. How has the reach changed for what you did through COVID? I mean, obviously, a lot of people, you would rely on them to get to the festival, to physically be there. As soon as it's online, you're open to the world.
Yeah, I think we had a huge amount of support globally for the festival. For the first time, it went online, and I think that sort of progressed into the last live event by us having record numbers. So we definitely reached new audiences in the UK and overseas. But I guess it kickstarted as well to produce this new channel that we're running now. And I guess that's our future. We're trying to sort of make it the Netflix of outdoor. I think that's quite aspirational, but we've got big games for the channel.
And you've got huge supporters. I mean, what you've done with 14 Peaks and things like that, and putting on premieres of such incredible documentaries. You've got a platform.
Yeah, we were amazed that Netflix rang us and asked us to do the European premiere of that. And we thought it was a hoax call at first, but no, I mean, it's great sort of testimony to the team, really, the hard work that they've put in over the years. And I think we're definitely seen as one of the major platforms in the world now to bring people from multiple outdoor communities together. I think that's the key for me. It's this huge platform that people network, they plan, they learn, they socialize, they do business, you name it, it all happens at Kendal now.
Yeah, but we've got to talk about that meeting that you and I had in Birmingham at the Outdoor Expo, as I was trying to break that record and hang on those the wall hangers.
Yeah, the wooden ice axe handles. Yeah,
absolutely. But you and I, immediately I thought, there's going to be a bit of chat here, when we were both straight into rugby. There was no adventure chat. It was all about rugby, the Six Nations, everything. You're a rugby man, which is obviously...
Yeah, I'm a rugby man. Well, my dad was a big rugby man. He played for the north of England and was really passionate for me to go down that route, really. And yeah, I did play to quite a good level, I guess, as a schoolboy and sort of county, first team when I was at school, and even played in the borders at Langham, just used to go up to Langham and train with a good friend of mine whose dad was a Scot, and, he was passionate about representing Scotland, and, I'd go up there and get my ass kicked up in Scotland. I think the fitness levels were, I think, the borders rugby for us, even in Cumbria, traveling north, it was another level again. But rugby, I've always been a passionate rugby fan, and that was one channel. But then I discovered outdoor sport, and obviously growing up in the Lake District, it was around me, but I only discovered it through a great teacher and parents of friends, really.
Yeah, and so was that at school a bit of rugby, a bit of adventure? Did adventure come in at school, or were you very much sort of after school weekends up the fells and things like that? How did it how did you get into this world?
Yeah, well, he was a maths teacher at school. I wasn't brilliant at maths, so he just, he was a really, really inspirational fella. He was in the mountain rescue team, and he was a passionate skier and kayaker. And he started this sort of little outdoor sports club at school and took us skiing up to Glenshee. That was where we'd go because there was obviously the youth hostel there, and we were sort of regular visitors there every winter. But back in the day as well, we used to get quite a lot of snow in the winters in the Lake District. Climate's shifted now, but we used to have a rope tow at school, and just through sort of passion and drive, we eventually started a ski club in Keswick, and we built our own ski slope at school through fundraisers. And we built a really short but very steep ski slope, no lifts or anything. And I used to go down in the evenings, and my dad built me some slalom poles out of plumber's piping and wooden blocks that I would put under the Dendex matting. And I'd practice slalom just up and down in the evenings. It was peeing with rain, and we had my maths teacher would give me the keys to the floodlights, and I'd stay there. My dad would have to come and get me like 9 p.m. saying, look, you've got school the following day, you've got to get off this slope. I was just addicted. I just loved that feeling of flying up and down the slope. I don't know why, it just resonated with me, I guess.
Yeah, and has that just stayed with you all the way through? And I know, even just looking at your LinkedIn, you speak about 6 languages. You're well traveled.
Not that many, but I guess I was always one of those lucky kids at school that found languages quite easy. I seem to be able to pick them up pretty well, but I really believe the only way to learn a language is to live in the country. So I'm lucky enough to have spent a bit of time in, obviously, France. I lived there for over 10 years, and then Norway. I lived in Norway for nearly 4 years. Done seasons in Spain teaching sailing and stuff. So I guess once you've got one language, I think learning others is a lot easier. But
that's one thing I regret not. I mean, French was what we got pushed on in school, and I just regret it to this day. Not putting on. And obviously, I can make the excuses now. I could probably learn. Instead of listening to podcasts on every commute to work, I could have French lessons on in the car. But sometimes you just don't. You just want to sort of zone out.
Well, we've just come back from Italy, and I forgot how, I've tried to brush up on my Italian before I went, and I took Jackie, who's obviously our CEO, and my wife, and my 15-year-old daughter. She came along, and we had a few days at this international festival on the edge of the Dolomites in Trento, and we went to a film that was based around sort of the recreation of a classic Italian film of the first ascent to K2. And it was an incredible film, but I forgot the intro was like an hour and a half in Italian. And I pretty much got about 80-90% of the chat. I looked to my right, and Jackie and Sienna were fast asleep.
I was about to say that, sound asleep.
Yeah, totally. It was quite, obviously intros should be brief at the best of times, but I was just engrossed in trying to get the Italian. But yeah, it's one of those things, really.
What are you like on holiday? Can you chill out and relax, or are you sort of like looking for a ski slope or something to dive off? Or
well, yeah, no, I can. I've always had an active life, and I'm not really one to be able to sit and lie by a pool for very long. Although we did last summer. I think with running the festival and it being like a family business,
yeah,
we take work with us whenever we go on holiday. It's just the nature of the beast, really. I think it's it just is the way it is. We get a certain amount of liberty from running the event, but also you take all the responsibilities with you when you travel. So we always keep an eye on what's happening.
Yeah. And how did you both get to this position of it? Like, feels like a family. It is a family with you and Jackie so involved and integral to it. How did you get to this position of sort of being at the forefront of Kendal?
Yeah, no, I'm smiling because somebody from the industry said, you know who you remind me of? They said, you lot, you're like the Evis family of outdoor, the family that run Glastonbury. Yeah, and they called us the Evises, because you go to the festival and there's all our kids, because we've got 5 kids between us. So we've always had a very busy life, a few businesses, 5 kids. It's always been full on. And you go to the festival and there's my daughter on the welcome desk. My 15-year-old daughter was serving drinks at the après-ski party. She shouldn't have been there. I got a bit of a shock when I walked through the door and she was serving welcome shots to the public. You know, it's just
one
like,
for you, one for me, one for you,
yeah.
one for me.
She wasn't drinking. Well, not that she showed her old man, but yeah, no, I think it's definitely, it feels like a family business, and the whole team feel like, you know, we are one big family. Yeah, sorry, I think I've digressed slightly, but how did we get there? Well, I guess you've got to track back to 2004 when I was invited to join the team, and I ran my own design company, so it was sort of branding and graphic design. And again, I'm a self-taught designer of you know, previous career, but I ran a fairly successful design business for, God, how many years was it? 10 years, probably more. And had a lot of clients from the outdoor industry. So the guys from the festival heard I was around and asked me to help them with the design and marketing, the brand, if you like, of Kendal, and quickly realized I had an outdoor background. So I was invited to join the team to help them program a lot of the action sports content. And, you know, that's how it all started. So I brought in mountain biking, snow sports, free flight content, which are all part of my background, really.
And before you guys got involved, where did it start? Where did it originate? Because am I right in saying, was it 4 or 5, 6 guys got together, put on an event?
Yeah, it was 40 years old. Well, I think we're 41, 42 this year. But yeah, there was a group of mainly climbers, mountaineers, who started it in a pub in Kendal, and they just got together as they did in those days to share. I guess it would have been slides and photographs and stories, and then they eventually started showing films as well. But so they used to plan expeditions, and initially it was like a fundraiser to help them, you know, earn a bit of money to go on their next expedition. So that's really how it started, from the sort of small group of people that started in Kendal to, you know, to what it is today. It's a very different event today.
And has it always been sort of, there's such a big movie theme through it? And I'm saying all this like I've been, my debut is going to be this year, and I can't wait for it. But the movie side of things, as I'm a movie fan, and Free Solo and all these documentaries that we'll see, when did that become so dominant in the festival that you do get the premieres and Netflix are now involved and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, the core has always been an international film competition. You know, we like to think of it as the sort of BAFTAs of outdoor film, really. All the Oscars, but I think, you know, keep the British theme going. Yeah, the film competition is absolutely crucial, and we have, you know, up to about 400 films entered into competition every year, of which we've got to whittle those down to around 100, 120 in competition. So we have like a pre-selection team, and then we appoint a nominated jury every year of 4 people to judge the final shortlist.
And do those videos and documentaries come from all over the world? It doesn't matter where it comes from. People can just enter any length, any style, anything. Yeah,
I mean, inevitably, like any film festival, if there's like a long form film like 14 Peaks, for example, you know, it's a lot harder to get sort of long form content into film festival because they take up a lot of festival programming space. So, you know, they usually have to be pretty exceptional to get, you know, 1 hour plus films program, but we tend to do those as standalones. You know, often we have world or European or UK premieres, but so inevitably the content tends to be around anything from 5 minutes to half an hour long. But yeah, from all over the world, it's a real international competition.
We've mentioned 14 Peaks a couple of times, and obviously with that being launched at the festival, you've met NIMS? Have you been out on the beers with NIMS? Have you had an experience of NIMS style, as he calls it, or he did when he was on the show with me?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't been out for beers with him because his schedule was pretty mad, wasn't it? When he was on the road, I've never met anybody with so much energy and drive to promote something himself and his film. I mean, all credit to him. You know, I think he got a little bit of criticism, but you know, I take my hat off to him. He's an incredible fella, and without a doubt, he brought quite a lot of new people to the festival thanks to him and his drive. You know, he went on sort of breakfast TV, Radio 5, you name it, and it was just amazing the work he probably didn't need to do, but you know, really wanted to do to to push the gig at Kendal. And because they came in so late as well, we didn't have like a prime time slot left. There was no way we could say to people that we'd already programmed for the Saturday night or the Friday night that, you know, that we had to drop in because we've got something better coming in. We just said, look, we've got a Friday afternoon, early evening slot. We're just going to have to go with it. And they, you know, that was what it was, but it was a huge success, sold out. He got a standing ovation in the venue, in our biggest venue. And yeah, the rest is history, I guess.
Yeah, no, it was, I mean, fantastic watching it unfold on social media and everything that happened. But just with NIMS and the way he promotes you, promotes everyone, how he promotes the Gurkhas and Nepal itself, what he's done for the climbing industry to put them on the map. I listened to him on Joe Rogan within the last month, you know, the biggest podcast in the world, what he's done and how he's sort of, I just love the story, how he coming out the military and didn't tell, he was on release, a couple of weeks release before he did his first one. He'd never done Everest. It's just an incredible story. And for you guys to get these guys to the festival, and I know Aldo Kane and all these big names have been there, but what I've seen and what I'm looking forward to is just how diverse, from household names to 1 minute video, to really short videos of people we won't have heard of, but you give them the platform to become renowned.
You've hit the nail on the head there, Nashy. I think it is very much a platform for everybody, and we've seen a huge shift in landscape, especially the last couple of years. And I guess we've sort of driven that as well through you know, our diversity program, through programming, through inclusivity as well. We've had a lot of stick from it, just from the fact that we're trying to shift that outdoor landscape and the way it looks and is seen and perceived. I think we've, even last week, had a really difficult email from one of our best known mountaineers who said that we'd gone all woke and we were destroying the, you know, the core, if you like, of the festival. And in fact, I got quite a lot of vitriol on Twitter when we did our broadcast event, because I was accused of, you know, dragging it into the sort of woke era. But, you know, I just respond to that to say it's progress. You know, we've got people like NIMS talking about his community. He's from a diverse background. The Sherpas have never been given a platform, you know, on an equal standing and footing as a lot of the, you know, the white privileged mountaineering community before. And you know, why not? Why shouldn't we give, you know, Muslims and black hikers and trail runners and you know, transgender people that platform as well? I think it's about being welcoming and being inclusive, but also being fair. And I think, you know, if we're reflecting the shifts in society, which, you know, Kendal is trying to do, we have to mirror the changes that are happening. You know, people are taking the knee at sports grounds, rugby's standing up against racism, you know, and I think we've, in our small way, have got a role to play.
Yeah, there's always going to be people that resist change or resist sort of the movement or the way the world is. You know, we all have to be more careful the way we talk, the way we speak, the way we presume. All these sorts of things, and I don't know, Kendal, people want to go. They're going to understand what the way the world is now.
You know, we just got to listen to people. I think if black people are saying that, you know, they've never had a voice in outdoor, that's coming for a reason. You know, they're speaking up because they feel like they're at liberty to do that now, and they're saying we've never had a voice, we've never seen enough people like ourselves in this sphere. So you know, all good to them, and let's listen to them and give them that platform. And you know what? I think when you stretch the envelopes, you know, when you get people who I call activists in the most positive sense, when they push that envelope, I think you come back to the middle ground. I think it's much more of a balanced environment to be in, but it takes those people to push it for us to all become a little bit more, you know, inclusive and a little bit more welcoming and, you know, understanding. I think
accepting that we're not all the same, and that people are changing and people are being more comfortable in talking about who they really are.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
That's what so many people find so difficult, to actually be honest and speak about who they are, and it doesn't suit everybody else to sort of watch that and listen to that. And some people are quite strongly, they argue strongly against it, which I don't know. As I say, there's going to be people out there. Every decision, there's someone that doesn't agree.
We're humans. We don't like change necessarily, especially if we've got a comfort blanket around us. You know, that comfort blanket comes in many different guises, I think, and especially when you sort of disrupt that comfort blanket, then people get a bit upset, you know. And I think it might be just from what you're used to, you know. I think also generationally we adopt behaviors and perceptions from our parents, whether we like it or not. You know, there are certain traits and reactions and you know, things that we adopt from our parents or our parents' generation that, you know, that are hard for us to shake off. And I think my kids look at me, shake their head. You know, I think I'm quite liberal and quite open, and they look at me and some of the things they correct me on, you know, I have to suddenly check myself and go, you know, you've got a fair point there.
Yeah, I mean, the youth, the future, and as you say, you're a dad. I've got 3 kids, and they're forget my kids' ages, 8, 6, and 4. So I've got time still molding. You've got a 15-year-old daughter, and I don't know the age ranges, but do you worry about the future for your kids because they're growing up? And what I say about you, you say you're maybe quite trendy and you're in a cool festival and you're sort of in a well-known position, but you're very aware of Instagram. You're very aware of social media, and you're actually in the world that your kids are growing up with social media and trolls and people coming at you.
Yeah.
Our kids are coming up in a world that to many parents and grandparents certainly is they have no idea what's going on. Do you worry about the influences around our kids of what's online that they think is cool or the way to make a living, when actually the older generation, we're used to getting the head down? Oh, you got shouted at by your boss. Come on, get back up, dust yourself off, keep going, and don't do it again. Sometimes you've got to be able to take the criticism and carry on. Do the youth today have that sort of thick skin?
I think it's different. I think they're growing up in a very changeable, very uncertain world. I think we're in a huge transitional phase through lots of disruption at the moment, as you know, with horrible things that are going on in the world, whether it's the war in Ukraine or climate change or, you know, COVID. You know, these are major things that we've not really seen, you know, amalgamate in such a small amount of time. So they're having to deal with a lot, but I think they'll become really resilient. And I think technology will help them massively. You know, I think it helps break down borders and helps them connect globally. I think the flip side to that from my perspective is I've definitely seen disconnect with young people with the outdoor world. And I know that's an issue. I've seen a complete decline in kids doing outdoor activity at school, whether that's because schools are restricted, they haven't got the outdoor ed teachers. You know, we had so much more outdoor time. You know, we didn't think twice about going climbing with the teachers after school or skiing, as it was in my case a lot of the time. And, you know, they seem to have reduced quite significantly. So it's up to us, and, you know, people like yourself and, you know, you're taking your kids out in the ocean a lot, and, you know, it's getting them into some sort of subtle hardships, if you like, that I think builds them up. You know, we take our kids climbing, been on the fells a lot with them, and I think, yeah, they'll default to their devices, but actually I don't think they realize the benefits that they're getting until they, you know, go to university or whatever and hanker back for the fells or the, you know, the highlands in your case or whatever.
I spoke recently with Monty Halls on the
I heard that
on the podcast.
Great podcast, yeah.
Thank you. And we were talking about, you know, I can put on the so-called Instagram life, the good life, on the kids are in the water, they've got the wetsuits on, but I also try to show the struggle to get them into the bloody wetsuits, and they're crying the whole way from the driveway to the beach as soon as they get in. And I don't say I just sort of drag them out and throw them in. There's been a few times I've maybe wanted to, but they get in, you know, they get in. If it's 5 minutes, if it's 2 minutes, if it's 50 minutes on a nice day, that parental hardship of getting them in the suit, getting their shoes on, getting their gloves on, and they're freezing, still wet from the last time, putting them through that to sort of let the kids understand that a bit of hardship, you'll usually get a reward, you'll usually get the fun at the end of it. And it's just just keep pushing that on the kids, that it's not always going to be easy. You can't always just get the reward.
Yeah, I mean, you'll have seen this. I remember when we used to have to battle our kids to get out the door and go up on the hill or whatever we were doing, you know, going on the lake. go for a swim. I think it was often a challenge just getting them out the door. And I think you could quickly see the first 15, 20 minutes when they suddenly engaged with that outdoor environment, their whole demeanor shifts. You saw they became playful, they became happier. And, we wouldn't remind them at the time, but we could, as parents could see that shift. It used to make us smile because, we'd get it sometimes if the weather was a bit crap and we'd say, no, we need some fresh air, let's go. And it would be like protest after protest. I've now got, 3 kids at university, one who's left university and obviously one who's in secondary school. And, they've all connected and used the outdoor for different reasons, but all totally passionate about it in their own different ways, really.
And how does the festival itself cater for, obviously, that I'm going to be there and engaging and talking and meeting and networking and doing what I love to do? And I know that's what sort of the big, I heard it said on a podcast recently, like the Kendal Mountain Festival is like your Instagram in real life. All these people that you've followed and inspire you across Instagram, you've maybe never met, but so many of them arrive at Kendal and have a great weekend. But for families, and if I bring the kids, and Abby, my wife, and we come down, what's it like for that family environment and the energy throughout the weekend?
It's fantastic. We're always trying to do more every year with families and young people. And I think, let's take the family adventure. We make that free for all the families. I mean, you still got to book your ticket, but it's free of charge. It costs us quite a few thousand, but the rationale behind that is that we want to encourage more families to come in and enjoy the festival, to get inspired. And we do Kendal for Schools outreach programs. We get kids in from all the different areas. Again, that's free to the schools. And, we inspire them through that. So we've got quite a community program that's building. Lots of things for young people to do, whether that's through film or through literature or through speakers who sort of design their chats for younger people. I think there's so much for them to do. And I think they come to Kendal to get inspired, but to learn as well. And we don't underestimate the amount of learning that goes on, whether it's just asking advice from people who are in the know or speaking to the industry people about kits, or just generally being entertained as well. I think that's important.
How have you seen the festival grow with you? You mentioned the brands and the businesses there with the North Face, Yeti, Rab. They're all there. All the household names are there. All the brands that make incredible content, incredible kit. But what's it like when they all come together? Are they all jostling for space? Is it kind of competitive when you get all the brands there under one roof?
Yeah, it is. I think we sort of shifted it over the last 5 years, really, especially when we inherited the event as a sort of new board of directors, and we looked at that sort of business model, if you like, where the brands were interacting with the public. And I think the idea from our perspective was to excite them, to talk about things that matter to the people, which is about sustainability, which is about innovation and technology. It's about their sort of brand stories. So when certainly when I got involved in 2004, it was very much about selling to the public. And inevitably, all these people are making stuff. It still is a massive industry, but I think they're all realizing now that to have fun with the public, to engage with them, to get feedback is really important. And yeah, we have a big waiting list from the brands to get involved.
It's Van Gogh. I was at the expo show with Van Gogh. They had the inflatable tent challenge. You had the ice hang challenge. That seems to be a winner, isn't it? Any stall, stand, brand that's got a competition where you might win something, that's where the people congregate.
They do like that. I think you'll find quite a different crowd at Kendal in the sense of, I think there's a lot more, engagement, interaction. We give the brands space on all the stage in the base camp village that we build, and there's a whole 4 days of programming goes into that space as well, separate to the rest of the event around the different venues in town. And that's free as well in the base camp village. It's free for the public. And
for people that haven't been, and I've done my research, so I know it is the village. It isn't just like a Birmingham SECC in one location. Tell us what actually happens in the village and some of the locations and how the whole village gets involved.
Yeah, I mean, Kendal's about 26,000 people that live here. Somebody called it the Edinburgh Fringe of outdoor, which I thought was a a really good analogy. You know, you can go into a pub or a cafe or a big venue like the leisure centre that we convert into our biggest venue, and there's something going on everywhere. We've got a 10K trail race. People are going out riding bikes, mountain bike trips. People are testing gear. You know, there's music, there's the arts, the literature is a really cool side of the event as well. It's fantastic. Gosh, I mean, it's huge now. It's really, really big.
And obviously, we're talking about November. We're talking about what's happening at the main event later in the year. But this week, you're on tour. I'm going to see you in Glasgow on Thursday.
Yes, I look forward to that. Yeah, I'm on stage with Anna Taylor, who's one of our up and coming hot young climbers. You know, free solo climber, but also big expedition climber. And yeah, she's talking about her challenge around the Lakes Classic rock climbs that she free soloed without rope or protection, but also her expedition with Leo Holding and his crew, Waldo, and the rest of the crew in Roraima in South America. And yeah, I think that was a huge learning experience for her. So she's going to be on stage, but we've also got, I think, around eight or nine films that we're showing as well, short films. It's a cracking evening.
Yep.
So we're in Glasgow on Thursday night, and then Inverness the following night, and Banchory near Aberdeen on the Saturday. Yeah.
No, it's all go, and it's something that. Where do you see the future? Obviously, if I was interviewing a coach right now, you'd be saying to me, "Hey, one game at a time. This is 2022. We're recovering from COVID. We're going to do this." But do you ever talk about that? Do you ever sort of sit back in the meetings and say, "Where are we going to take this? Where's this going to go? This festival, and how big can we actually get it?"
Yeah, I guess we've not had enough time to cover everything really, but you know, we've got a tour launching in the USA in September. So that's going to be 100 venue tour, 25 cities, of which 5 are going to be live events. So that's going to be huge. We've been working in China for 6 years with our team in China, 6 people there. So we're spreading the sort of Kendal spirit, if you like, globally, and I think we'll probably do more in Europe going forwards. But the channel as well, our Kendal Mountain Player, we're always adding content and scouting films to go on that. And you know, that makes our organization sustainable. I think the festival is the jewel in the crown, but it costs us so much money to run every year that we have to have these peripheral arms of the business, if you like, to make it, you know, viable, really.
That is exciting. It's like the adventure scene, and I've interviewed a lot of adventurers and climbers, skiers from the States. I mean, that market is huge, humongous market, and that must be really exciting to sort of be spreading over that way.
It is, and we're just trying to pitch at the moment what our package is going to be like that we take there, you know, whether it's a British focus or a European focus, because I think we need to take them something new, something different. And I think we have so much to offer, and a lot of people don't realize how much outdoor landscape we have in the UK, and certainly we have a lot of quality filmmakers. But I think we're going to try and sort of keep the bias British, but maybe add a few European films in there. Although we were told that they don't really like subtitles so much in the States, but with some of our dialects and accents, I think we're going to have subtitles anyway.
They've got that from all their different states and accents.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm sure they'll be fine. I mean, it was the agents that we're working with that said don't send us too many subtitle films. But you know, for us, it's about the quality. It's about, if it's a great film, we'll definitely put it in the program.
That's it. Well, Steve, here, I'm not going to keep you too long. I'm going to see you face to face on hopefully Thursday night. All going well. I wish you every success with that. But November is going to be here in no time. Can people head to the website? What's the best way to keep in touch with everything you guys are doing?
Yeah, kendalmountainfestival.com, and everything's on there, the player, the tour information. But yeah, it's get yourselves down to the tour. I think we've just hit halfway mark in our UK tour. So you know, there's bound to be a show coming up near you somewhere. So yeah, it's a great night out. We've got some incredible adventurers on stage telling their different stories. So yeah, usually a different person per venue.
Fantastic. And thank you for giving me the opportunity on the Insta Live to catch up with Anna. That was I enjoyed that chat. It was great fun.
Yeah, it was a great chat you had there. Yeah. Well, I won't need to speak too much because you've done it all. You've done all the chat for me.
No, we're all good. We're all good. Steve, take care. I'll see you on Thursday. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks, Nashy. Take care.